Hi, I'm recording this video for both sections of constitutional law this semester. And I'm recording this because I have just graded the first discussion board posts and have noticed some concerning trends among the types of sources selected to support your discussion boards. Quite frankly, they're not acceptable. 13 students used a source geared for elementary school, middle school. Another student used a K through 12 source, and a couple students used Wikipedia out of 46. So a third of students selected sources that were not acceptable. They're not collegiate level acceptable sources for this class. This video is to show you what was selected first and foremost. So I had 13 students select this website. When I had never heard of Ben's Guide, when I saw so many students using it, I looked at it and I was frankly a little shocked that students thought this was an appropriate source for the discussion board assignment. These are intended to be fairly simple as long as you follow the guidelines, but I also expect you to use some critical thinking and make sure you're including collegiate level material. As you can see, this is geared for young children. So this is not an acceptable source. I've graded very leniently for this first round of discussion boards, but in the future I expect collegiate level sources. If I do not receive them, you will receive reduced credit. So if you are looking for sources, this is going to be going up on Canvas today. You can use things that are in this middle, most reliable box that are in mainstream media. Okay, so this middle box. You can also select sources from the United States Supreme Court's website. This is an appropriate source for this class. You can come in here and you can search topics that we will be covering, like search and seizure. And it will bring you up with more than 500 different cases, some current, some old, but cases that deal with appropriate topics. You can also use oye.com. This is best if you kind of have an idea what you're looking for. This is a case that I will be including in our weekly recap, Riley versus California, 2014. And so this takes me to a summary. This is not acceptable for your final paper, but for a discussion board, it will get the job done. And it include the facts of the case, the question, was the seizure of his cell phone unreasonable? Did it violate his Fourth Amendment rights? Yes. We'll notice right here, yes, a unanimous Supreme Court, including originalist justice and very liberal justices, agree the Fourth Amendment protects your cell phone. So this is an appropriate source. Another appropriate source is the Legal Information Institute. This is free materials about the law. They include a variety of sources from the Constitution. They have their own original content, including an annotated Constitution. They have these different overviews of the Constitution itself. These are appropriate sources for this class, not something like this. Lastly, and you will absolutely be making use of this for your paper, is Google Scholar. One of the permissible topics for that final paper is peremptory challenges. I can just put that right in, and I get law review articles. I get, and I eventually will get to some peer-reviewed scholarship that's showing up in journals. For this, you should restrict your range to something like 2000 and more contemporary, because the law changes, and it's not acceptable to use really dated sources. So this is a journal, negotiating peremptory challenges. So these are the types of sources that I want and expect to see this semester. If I see these sources like Wikipedia that are constantly changing and not reliable, or sources geared for K through 12, you're going to have your score decrease. So I expect you to use appropriate sources for this class. If you have any questions about a source and whether or not it's appropriate, that's a great thing to email me. Email me the source, a link to their source, and say, hey, Professor Rochlow, I'm not sure if this is a good source or not. Can you help me? So those are the types of these are the types of sources that I would like to see you using this semester. Again, questions are always acceptable, but I don't want to see more sources like Wikipedia, Scholastic Learning, which is a K-12 resource, Ben's Guide this semester, because you will receive reduced credit for that. All right, again, questions are always okay. Feel free to ask as many questions as you may have.